The knives are out on Top Chef as contestants continue to compete for this season's grand prize.
As a team, you have to create 3 cohesive dishes, all highlighting beef. Each of you will be responsible for one of those dishes.
After you select your primal cut, you'll have to break it down.
That's scary. Butchery is an art. People study butchery the way they study pastry.
You'll have $600.
So, here to talk more about what's going down on this season of Top Chef, we have chef, restaurateur, and food activist Tom Colicchio. Plus, he's filling us in on a new initiative to help organic farms in our area as well. So good to see you, Chef. Thanks for coming back to PIX11.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so this season's Top Chef is in Houston. How would you describe that food scene there?
You know, Houston has an amazing food scene. It's one of the most diverse cities in our country. There's a very big Vietnamese population, Filipino population, the African diaspora from all over Africa as well. There's so much going on there. It has a long history of really adding to the culinary scene in America, going back to the 80s with Chef Robert Del Grande and chefs like that who were in Houston who just really kind of blazed a trail for Texas and Houston in the American food scene.
So what's it been like having Houston as the backdrop for the show this year?
It was great. I haven't spent a whole lot of time there, so this was the first time that I was there for about 7 weeks, and it was great. There's so much to do there. What's really interesting. It's not a city that sees a lot of tourism. Maybe some for NASA, but not a lot of tourism. So that's why I don't think it's as well known culinary as some of the other, major cities.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause I was in Texas for a little bit. I thought Dallas and Austin were the big scenes for like kind of food and stuff like that, right? Barbecue and whatnot. But sometimes, let's talk about the show. Something new is thrown into the mix to challenge the chefs who are competing, right? So what was the most interesting challenge? Can you let us in throughout the show's history?
There were a lot of good challenges. Yes, I can. One of my favorite challenges, we already saw it a couple of weeks ago. It was called a doppelganger challenge. And what the chefs had to do was create 2 dishes, one sweet and one savory, but they had to look exactly the same.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was really amazing what they did. Yeah, it was one of my favorite challenges. 19 seasons in, which is really great that we still have surprises and are still doing new things.
The people that you have on this show are so ridiculously talented. So what does it take to actually win on Top Chef?
Obviously it takes a lot of skill. Clearly our show plays into a chef that can shoot from the hip. If we say, here's the challenge, you have an hour to cook, minus the shopping part of it, you have an hour to cook. So you have to think very, very quickly on your feet and be able to execute. There's also stamina really plays a role here because the chefs are, they're working 14 hours a day. They're, have a camera in their face all the time, and they get really worn down. So it's a combination of you have to have great skills. And I think part of the reason why the show has been so successful is we're not hiring wannabe, chefs and cooks. We're hiring actual chefs that are working in the industry. And they're at the top of the game, and they come in and they are just, eating, living, and breathing food for the time they're here. And, what's really great to hear from the chefs, usually the chefs that get, a little bit, further down on the road, is that, number one, they had no idea how tiring and exhausting it would be, but also how much they're learning about not only themselves, but about how far they can push themselves. And the constant feedback that they're getting makes them better cooks.
Yeah. What do you mean? They don't like a camera in their face for 14 hours? You don't know what that's like.
You get used to it, but it wears you out. It definitely does.
Yeah. So all these years into it, are you surprised? Do you have any idea of which chefs, I guess, like in the first episode, you think is actually going to win it, or are you taken by surprise at the end?
You get a pretty good idea the first episode who's going to compete, meaning who's going to really just sort of get to the end. Sometimes we're surprised. But you can often tell right away, and experience has a lot to do with it. The chefs that have more experience clearly have an advantage. But it's hard to handicap it. Often we're wrong. I don't think I've ever said this person's going to win and they won. It's really hard, especially the first, they walk into the set and all of a sudden they're doing a quick fire. And so they're so off balance, and so it's really hard to judge from the first challenge on.
Yeah, it's so unpredictable. That's what makes it so fun to
Sure.
watch. Now, when you were last on our show, we talked about the restaurant business bouncing back from COVID. Are you seeing things kind of get back to normal or close to normal at your places?
No, it's not back to normal yet. People are still away. People aren't coming into the office, so lunch really isn't as robust as it used to be. We're still not there. The good news is Thursday, the House will vote on a supplemental package to the Restaurant Relief Fund.
Right.
The Restaurant Relief Fund, we received $48.6 billion. The downside of that, and that was great, but the downside of that is that of all the applicants, about 300,000 restaurants applied, only 100,000 actually received grants, putting those that didn't receive money at a real disadvantage. Thursday, there was a vote in the House to actually put an additional $40 billion into that fund. It will pass the House, and then hopefully it goes to the Senate, where we'll get 60 votes and pass it there too. But we still have a ways to go.
I do want to talk real quick before we let you go, because we had you on to talk about this farming idea as well. You're working with organic dairy farms, right, in the Northeast to help them out right now as well, because they're also taking a hit. So how are you helping them?
Well, sure. What happened was that they lost their contracts. Horizon and Maple Hill, which were the two big milk companies that were buying all the milk from these local small family farms, they lost their contract. And so now these small farms, and you're seeing one right there, these aren't massive farms. These are small little family farms. Maybe they have 30, 40, 50 herd, and they have nowhere to sell their milk now. And so I, along with Dan Barber from Blue Hill, we pledged to purchase at least 50% of all of our dairy from these small local farms, all through New York State, Vermont, even up into Maine, New Hampshire. This is, they create the backbone of our rural communities. And if these family farms disappear, they're never coming back. And it's the way of life that will be lost throughout this country. So we're doing all we can to help support them. And we really encourage other restaurateurs and chefs to take that pledge as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that really is so generous of you. Chef Colicchio, thank you so much for coming onto our show. It's always so great to see you.
You too. Thank you.
You can watch episodes of Top Chef Houston on Thursday nights on Bravo. Good.